Hi, welcome to Siffany's Walk with Grace.
Hello.
I wanted to talk about kind of the loss of our cat. Some of you might have seen that floating around on Facebook. I thought it would be good to talk about in particular because we had Motley for so long that he was with us through some pretty trying times. He was part of Siffany and I's
Healing, maybe? I don't know.
healing. Yeah, because
Peacekeeper?
yep, yep. I think, oftentimes we grow through our love. I mean, you loved Motley enough to kind of keep trying. I loved Motley enough to keep trying. We loved each other enough to keep trying, it, even though we were really upset with each other for some of those years. I know your other two sisters fought a little bit around Motley, kind of who he belonged to, who he should belong to. And cats have their own way, sometimes of picking their own best friend. And that, especially those later years, I think wound up being the youngest. But I think maybe one of the themes that had come up for me was in my Kundalini class, and I do that under the Life Force Academy, and Jai Dave is kind of my guru, but he talks about two wings of a bird. One of those wings being compassion, the other one being wisdom. And I just love that. Like it takes both to kind of be able to guide ourselves through life. But another big thing that he talks about, and I think this will go into all kinds of things, our Ehlers Danlos and trying to learn to be as, stress is a big deal, as it is for everybody, I think, in this century and this time, because things are going so fast. But the main idea behind the Kundalini yoga is to learn to not push away what's bad and not try to cling to what's good. And for me, when Molly passed away, I saw a lot of that happening, the not pushing away and not trying to cling. It's like we we came together in, to me, such a loving way. Um, we were there for each other. We allowed the tears, we allowed the shutting down. One of us kind of shut down for a minute, just kind of wanted to go home and go to bed. I didn't try to force or cling or pry. I tried to kind of, I get it. I get it. When we're in a lot of pain, sometimes that's exactly what we want, is to just totally shut down. So there was no pushing away, and there was no trying to make something happen that wasn't meant to be. But, and one of the big things for me was I had a friend put on Facebook to not, how did she put it? She said, don't hesitate to find a replacement kitty. And at first I was pushing away, like, oh, wait a minute. No, I got to make sure there's been enough time to heal. That's not okay. Like I found myself kind of, does that make sense? Resisting. And I'm really big on resistance is futile. But but I thought, why am I doing that? And I don't know, I had this epiphany about, because it's around Christmas time, and I had this epiphany of Santa doesn't hold things back. Like he's the greatest gift giver of all time. And of course, my background, God, Christ, Jesus. God doesn't, we block our own happiness. We pushed it away by saying what, I'm not good enough. Uh, I haven't healed enough. I haven't cried enough. No, it hasn't been enough time. No,
I don't have enough experience.
exactly. I don't deserve that, whatever. But all of a sudden, it was like this. I can't hardly describe it. I had this intense feeling of really understanding how much we block the blessings of God, and that he really does want to bless us. And I was thinking, and to me, one of the things I love about Santa is I see it as a really good dad, like a very benevolent father who really only has our best interest at heart. So I'd like to introduce our newest family member. This is Scotty. And we went ahead and decided we got him the next day. So I just wanted to share that about, and ask what gifts are you not allowing yourself, that you're not allowing to come into your life because of whatever reason, and what that reason might be. So
And we went and met Scotty last night, and he is so precious. Oh my gosh. And I know he'd have been snatched up quick. So if they hadn't have gone when they did, who knows if he would have even been there. And he really is,
yeah,
I think he's a great fit. Obviously you got hyper kitten aspects, but he was so calm. He walked right up to me. He's tolerating the golden retriever that they own very well. I mean, and that's hard to find in itself. So I think for your household, like he really is the perfect fit, and he might not have been there if you didn't go and you did.
yeah,
And sometimes, you will lose opportunities by not taking it. Not all of them stay forever.
yeah, true, true, true. My youngest, what really gelled it for me too was Motley. Motley helps her feel safe at night. And we're in a fairly new home, and he was kind of her rock, I think. And I don't know, from there I thought, it is okay. And why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't we go seek this out? And I did have thoughts of, oh my gosh, I mean, how much time is it going to take? How many cats are we going to be looking at? How, like the process. I get hung up on processes. And I thought, you know what? No? Okay. All right. I I am ready. I would like to be blessed with a kitten. And so sure enough, we actually had him within like 2 hours of when I made that decision. So open yourself, people. Open to the blessings of the world. There's so much negativity out there, and it's really easy to kind of hang on to that and hone into that. So the principle of the day is don't resist and don't hang on. So
On the subject of death, I would also like to add that my role around death, I've been doing a lot of research on this lately. I haven't really talked to you about it yet.
oh, cool. So
I'm
I'm
what
gonna get new information as everybody else does. I'm excited. All
Yeah,
right.
it's gonna be a party. All for
Yeah.
one and one for all. But no pants are gonna fall. But I realize that I'm what people refer to as a death worker.
Mhm.
And what that is we're the ones that go in and do the jobs that might be too difficult for some to do. Um, so in Motley's situation, we wanted castings of his paw print. But
Because
getting it from the vet or something is an insane price. He didn't get put down, he went naturally. And so I was like, well, I can do it. And so we wanted the paw print because he was inbred and he had extra toes. He had basically like two paws on one. Like his feet were like this. And it was almost heart shaped too. And so that was kind of like his signature, and he couldn't move the other three like a lot of cats can that have that. And so he would get stuck in stuff all the time and we'd have to unhook his poor little paws. So we wanted castings of it, and by some miracle, last second, I'm over here calling all around. The pet stores are out. These people are out. Those people are out. And Walgreens down the street, of all places, was where I found it. And I found three, and we wanted three. And so I snagged them up. I went up there and I helped get the paw print casting. And that was he passed at night, and then that was the next day that we did that. So, and it was more in the evening. But the role of the death worker can be challenging for some too, because it's you're connecting with the dead on a whole different level. And I also want to say, like, make sure you respect the death workers around you. And this includes the people that work at mortuaries. Like, it is a hard job. It's it's something that we are grateful we're able to do and that we're thankful that we can give, but it is still a hard job and it is tasking mentally and emotionally. And spiritually, depending on if you're one that communes or not. So a lot of death workers tend to actually speak with the dead while they're prepping them as a measure of respect. And some people believe that the dead actually don't leave the body until the burial or the ceremony has happened. And that's also part of it. And they don't want, the death worker wants the deceased to know that, hey, I'm being respectful. I'm really sorry about what happened. We're going to take good care of you. You're going to look beautiful. And almost like how you would coddle a teenager that just went through their first breakup and she's just heartbroken and the world is over. And you're beautiful, honey. It's okay. Like, just, and I don't want to use the word coddle, but comfort. Our job is to comfort both sides. And so for me, this was my second experience hands-on doing death work. And it is a little trying because you're used to seeing them alive. You're used to seeing them moving and warm, and um there are certain aspects about it that you don't necessarily expect sometimes that surprise you. And so, I wanted to throw that out there because I feel like sometimes we don't even, we're so in our own feelings that we don't even necessarily realize what that person's going through. And sometimes, there winds up being fights or arguments or whatever, and just know and understand that the death worker truly is doing their best with the best intentions. And it takes a very unique and strong-willed individual to be able to do that kind of work. And I think that understanding that brings a sense of humble sincerity, I guess, when dealing with people like me.
Yeah.
I know that was a mouthful. Did that make sense? Like,
Yeah, I think it made sense. Sure.
okay.
Sure. I like how you were saying, that you're kind of the in between. And I feel like I do a lot with the in between. I've said before, it's my
You
favorite
were
place
my
to be.
helper on both cases, so
I was. Yeah. 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 What I found beautiful too, and I think this happens a lot in death, and maybe this is one of the things that helps us get through. To me, there seems to be a whole synchronicity is heightened,
Mhm.
at least, the couple that I have been through, death experiences, there was a lot of synchronicity. Um, and what is that? How does that work? I don't know, but I know with Motley, it's it was amazing that you found the paw print things at Walgreens of all places. It was part of a Christmas ornament,
Yeah,
Christmas
it was a
time.
make your own pet Christmas ornament,
Yeah, yeah. So go
which was
figure,
great because it meant you could hang it too. We could hang it on the
Yeah,
wall. It was
yeah.
perfect.
So It was perfect. It was perfect. Timing all the way around, I felt like timing was perfect. You had gotten the coffee cup for the one who really experienced the loss of Motley because she's the one that spent so much time. And you had gotten the coffee cup the day or two before. Like it was like
The last day the
yeah,
mail ran before that day because the mail
right.
doesn't run on a Sunday. It came in
Yeah,
USPS. I got it on Saturday. So, I mean,
yeah.
it was ideal.
Yeah, yeah. So the timing of things it just flowed. It just flowed. And
I was available to come and do that.
you were available, so we were all calm. It's not like anybody had to change schedules. It just worked out. Yeah, yeah. So I just think that's a really neat. I just think it's very interesting the synchronicity of it all. He passed away on probably one of the more powerful new moons of the year in the very in Vedic astrology, in the Scorpio area in the sky, very connected to death and transformation.
I did
I
not
thought,
realize that. That didn't even process.
yep, yep. So I found that to be fascinating. But anyways, things like that that just, really confirmed to me that, you know, we're not just here having human experiences. We're spirit having human experiences and nobody has all the answers, but I think the more we talk, the more we share, the more we try to understand.
Lean
Uh,
into the ebb and flow is, I think, very important.
Yeah, yep. And that ebb and flow for me, a lot of that is kind of that in between. So, I have a plan and it seems to get hung up on something. Okay. And try to flow more into that. So,
And I have a friend who their one of their parents isn't doing too great and they thought they were gonna lose him recently. And one of the things that they said to me is they were like, I'm supposed to be the strong one for everybody. Like they asked
mhm.
me to be the strong one for everybody. But where does that give me time to cry? And I'm like, no, 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 that's not what that means. And I want all of you to understand that too. Being the strong one does not mean that you do not get to express your emotions. It means that you can express them, but stay logical. So you can cry all day long, but maybe you're the one that's helping plan the funeral because you're the one that can think through all the processing. And I want people to understand that because when you're asked to be the strong one or when you feel like you have to be the strong one, a lot of people construe that and think, okay, I'm not allowed to cry. I have to be a hardened shell. And that's not what that means.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. Yep. Feel your feelings and do the work while feeling it.
Yep. And for me, sometimes that means holding it together in the moment. And the second I walk outside, I'm like, but I
Yep.
kept it together for them, so that's what mattered.
Yep, yep. And sometimes you're in safe company and the tears are coming and you know you could
And that's
talk
okay.
through your tears. Yeah. Yeah.
My final thought to kind of add in, um, when grandma passed away, mom and I did her makeup for the funeral, and we had a couple of, I think, some of our biggest bonding experiences there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it was really a huge bonding thing. And
Mm.
as we were leaving, this is a room with no windows. It had like an air vent in the center of the ceiling, but it wasn't on. Like nothing changed in the room. But mom turned around and she said, and I will never forget this, I hope I'm making you proud, mom. And me and her were side by side, and there was this just warm rush of love. Like our hair moved and everything. And we just kind of stopped and looked at each other, and we just knew what it meant. Like we didn't even have to say anything. And I think that was probably one of the most beautiful moments because for me, it really confirmed that there is something after, that the spirit is conscious after, that the vitality of death work, because I'm sure part of that was appreciation as well. Like, thank you for making me for this and not like messing everything up and making me look like a clown, because sometimes an inexperienced makeup artist might think they're doing right and it might not be. So
Mm.
I think it was a mixture of stuff, but it really solidified for me the vitality of death work in a roundabout odd way. Even, and I think a lot of it was that I was connected to her, but nonetheless it I don't know, it empowered me in a different way that I didn't even know I had and that I was capable of.
Mm.
And
Wow.
so be open. I mean, yeah, the task sounded really difficult, but I did it, and it's one of the things I'm the most thankful for.
Yeah. Yep, it was definitely a bonding experience for me and you. So, yeah. And I weird as it is, I loved having that time with mom.
You only say it's weird because of our culture. So
You're right. I don't mean to, yes, I'll let you, I see how other people deal with death, and I'm a little what's the word I want?
apprehensive, maybe?
No, like I want that. Why can't we
Oh,
have
okay.
that? Why can't we? Why don't we? To me, death is just as important as birth.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, there's in the, Hispanic cultures, there's the Day of the Dead where they literally celebrate the life of the person that's deceased. There's cultures where it's either every 5 or 10 years, they actually bring their deceased relatives back out and they reclothe them. They give them new blankets, they add new, flowers for to make them smell better. They give them a
Yeah,
bath and then they put them back and they rebury them. But it's a thing of honor. And for Americans, like, yeah, that sounds like I'm sorry, you're doing what with what? Like, but it's because of how our culture is here. Here
yeah.
we are very unfamiliar with death. We are very scared of death. We feel very distanced from it, even though it's always so near. And I think that the other cultures, maybe they intertwine it with some more of their life in different ways than we do, that make it easier for them to be okay around it. And so, but it's also important for them to understand, like, they probably look at us like we're weird too. Like, wait, you just leave them there? You don't even freshen them up? Like, I mean, for them, it's probably really weird what we do too. But I will say I can understand why they're all walking around so happy, because that moment really did bring a whole different level of peace to me. Like it
Yeah,
filled a little bit of a hole, because grandma and I weren't really on the best terms when she went. And so feeling that love just fully overpower me for a second, like it meant everything. It meant everything.
yeah,
And I think being there showed her how much she meant to me too.
yeah, yep.
So
Hmm.
just food for thought. I mean, we all know it's a tough subject, but the more we come to accept it and be okay with it, the easier it is. It really is. Just like anything in life.
Yeah, yep. I wish when I died, like I could be put on one of those rafts that they like a wood raft and adorn me with flowers and light me on fire and set me on down. Set me on down the um
I will totally see if anybody allows Viking funerals anywhere, and I
Viking
will
and death
try to
kind of
make that
funeral.
happen.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about because I can't imagine, digging digging someone up after 5 years. That would be not my. And we talked about that on another one, so I don't know if
We did,
that's
we did.
it, but
And the Viking funeral, I would love one too. I'm not gonna lie. And that might
I
even go deep
know.
in our roots, because I'm pretty sure we have heritage in that area.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. You all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.